right, so this is our week 2 item 2, and I want to walk you through what you need to do for this item and just continue giving you some formatting requirements for the Google Doc and just walk you through the work. Really, that's my goal this week. So we're now into the last item in the second week. So by this point, you've gotten a good feel for what this class content's going to look like from here on out. So hopefully you're managing your timeline correctly or your time effectively and that you're getting work done. And if you're not, you're figuring out how to manage that or you're reaching out for help. So that's my goal. Again, I'm recording this one before the start of the semester. So this will probably be the last video. The next one you'll see from me will be once the semester is started. Anyway, let's go ahead and turn to it and take a look. So for this item in the week, what first we have up is now we're going to our next lecture, right? Is going to be lynda.com, and in this case web technology fundamentals. So now we're getting a bit more in-depth introduction to the web, because in order to learn about the web you have to understand how it works, right? How the underlining the network part of the web works. So that's really and this is one of those courses a little older than I like to use, but really great. Okay, I haven't found content on lynda.com that rivals this, just because even though the web moves quickly and a lot of things happen, a lot of things change, there are certain things that haven't changed. As I look through here, this is all still relevant. We're going to use GitHub starting in a couple weeks, so look forward to that. Okay, so here's what I want to say is that and I'm going to move to the lecture now, right? So this is where we left the lecture doc last time. So, and because each week, and I made this a major heading 1, and then each topic, right? So now what I want you to do, in addition to that, before we start working on this one, put Monday, okay? Because there's a Monday. Assuming I can spell. So Monday, and in this case I want you to make that also a heading 2, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to make it a particular color. And what that does is allows, so now, right, so now what we can see is here's the items for Monday. So now that you have those done, and I want you to do this to where you put the most current stuff on the top, right? So now what you could do, and you could either copy that formatting but put Thursday, right? So in this one, I'm going to go ahead and do also a heading 2, and also, by the way, who knows how I could do this without doing this step? Yes, use the painter tool, right? So if you've never used the painter tool, learn it, right? So you can just, and it'll do that for you, right? So now on Thursday. So here's what I want to say, and here's your class topics. Now, by the way, what would have been easier than doing that? I bet you already did it, right? So why type when you don't have to? Work smarter, not harder. Okay, so for this one, there's really pretty much only one that I have so far, right? And it's the idea of staying on top of your work, which kind of is what I talked about last time. I gave you a little more like, here's ways to get help, right? But staying on top of your work and making sure you're getting help when you need it. So that's also, I guess maybe I did give it to you now that I'm sitting here looking at this note as far as last time goes. So here's your class topic for today, is to make sure you follow my formatting requirements, okay? Because what this allows us to do, it allows imagine how much I grade, right? Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. So yes, follow this, because here's the other thing is always put, and this can go in your notes, always put the current week that you're working on, that you're submitting, at the top of the document. I don't want to have to go through and look for your work on the bottom. So that's why I always have you place the current work that you're doing on the top. Okay, so make sure you do that. So that's the other thing that would go in here, is make sure you place that at the top. So class topics is this one, and again, if you want to use some kind of nice bullet points, those are always helpful. Okay, same now. So that's for class topics in this, but in the lecture this week, follow that same format I had for you before. But here's the thing, on this lecture, you only have to do, number one, intro to the web, front-end technologies, scripting with JavaScript. So these are just talking about concepts here. So you can see these are here's one, right? So within one, here are all the ones you're going to want to have some notes on. 1, 2, right? And then 3. So that's what you need to do. And up to, oh, sorry, my bad. 1, 2, and up to JavaScript. So sorry, it was 1, 2, and then up to JavaScript. So this is, next time we'll start onto this one. Up to, I said? It's good to read your own writing. Up to JavaScript. Okay? Up to. So up to means including. Or if you want to do it next time, that's cool too. But so that's what you need to do for the lecture. Okay, so now I'm going to keep going. So again, those goes in your lectures. So now the other thing about this week and the work you need to do, and this is our second point in the week, is I'm going to have you do an assignment I have my other students do in CIT15, but they don't do it until mid-semester, and you're doing it now. And I want you to do an exercise that I think everyone should need to know, no matter what skill, where you come in this world. You need to understand how to map your own network, because that is the way you learn web technologies, okay? Is how you connect to the web and how your speed affects your device effects, all these things. So here's the link. I'm going to go ahead and go into it, right? And then I've given you examples of when I did this for myself, and this is a little bit old, but it's still there. And here's the video where I walk you through it in the classroom. Now, this is a little longer than you probably would need to watch. Really, what you need, and by the way, but I definitely recommend if you struggle with this, that this is more help. So here's the example of the my Google Doc, and actually in this case I'm using something called drawing. So you're going to go, and I talk about this in the video, is how to do drawings.google.com. So if you've never used it, it's a great tool. And so what you're going to do is create a network map. So this is a home network. Talks about the different ways you can connect, right? So Wi-Fi and wired. Now I will have you do a speed comparison here. And in order to do, in my example, a speed comparison between a wired speed and a Wi-Fi speed and a wired speed, you'd have to have a hardwire connection, which, by the way, if you don't, you should. Everyone should have a network cable that can go into their cable modem. Okay, so or into their router, right? So in here I have a cable modem. Connected into that is my Wi-Fi device that broadcasts my Wi-Fi, so that I should be able to, and you can, by the way, you can go in, depending on your modem, you can go in directly or you can go into your router. But you need to be able to at some point, for troubleshooting reasons, and for this to understand what's the difference between your wired and your Wi-Fi speed. So I just want you to draw this out. You can get these images off of images.google.com. Again, in the video I talk about that. And then I also look at my mobile device, and I look at some of the differences between my mobile network and my Wi-Fi, right? So how fast is my mobile network? For my case, it's T-Mobile. By the way, I have a Nexus 6P now, and a newer watch. So this tells me that why this is a little older, right? So, and then at the bottom here, right, I put my home Wi-Fi is 60% slower than my wired. And then my cell phone speed is 75% slower than my home Wi-Fi. So now how I got that is I gave you an example here, and this is sheets.google.com, is to set up a sheet, and then I put the wired, right? And I give you all this so you can look at this as an example. And I talk about in the video how to do what's important, right? Like how important is the internet to you? For me, without it, there's not much I can do. I get kind of weird when I don't have it. You'll hear me say that if you watch the video. But so these are the two documents you need to link into this work, okay? And then I show you how I came up with that. So by the way, here you can't just put a number, you actually need to put a formula. So if you're not sure how to do that, follow along with mine, okay? So when I see your work here, you need to have these links, right, to your home network, your darling.google.com file. And again, these would need to be placed into the shared with everyone. So I will say this as well. When you put these IP addresses, which some of them may be IP6, and if you don't know the difference between IP4 and IP6, my guess is that you didn't take CIT or you haven't taken CIT15 in a while, but it's the way they're formatted. There's more numbers in IP6, but you can also just star out the last part of those numbers if you don't want to share them with everyone. Totally fine to do that. The internal networks, you can do it as well. The most exposure you would have conceivably, although I think it's minor, is on your what we call your public facing IP right here. So anyway, I almost debated whether I was going to put this assignment this time, but I just think it's fundamental to understanding and a good exercise to know how to do. So if you were in my 15 class, this will be easy for you, but if you weren't, it takes a little bit of work to get that done. So you do want to write 150 words about your experience of doing it and do 2 replies to your fellow students. And you'll see me put this now from here on out is make sure you do a, oh, by the way, I did place this towards the place I started talking about it because I was in class and talking about some other stuff that you don't need to know. I mean, if you want to watch it, go ahead, but still. Okay, anyway, minimum 75 words for each reply. I haven't said that until now. Okay, so the last item here in this week is another really important topic, and it's the idea, and he introduces this in this lecture, which is web technologies, which is HTTPS. And this is a great video that I say you'd only have to watch half of it, and it's actually the Google I/O before this, and I/O is the biggest conference for developers for Google during the year. But this was a talk that I really felt reached the level of where most people are at, which is understanding why HTTP, what it is and why it's important. So I say you'd only have to watch at least half of it, but I recommend you watch it, all of it, if you have time. I recently moved a site over to HTTPS, and it was I should have done it sooner, and everyone will eventually run under HTTPS, which is really a secured conversation between your browser and the web. Okay? All right, so that is the work that you need to do for this week. So this is going to complete our second week of the semester. Or actually the first full week of the second week of the semester, first full week in this class. So hopefully by now I've met a few more of you, and we'll see in your posts. I'll meet you virtually one way or the other. But remember, Business Education 113 if you need anything. Have a good one. Talk to you later.